Yeah, it's live. Okay. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to today's episode of UVAP. We are embarking on a journey through some of the most crucial stages in women's life, postpartum and perimenopause, where emotional, physical, and hormonal changes can feel overwhelming but can be managed with the right support. In this episode, we will take the compassionate look at postpartum depression, commonly known as the baby blues, and understand what triggered these feelings during such a significant time. We will also explore lifestyle factor that can support emotional recovery after childbirth, discussing diet tips and strategies that promote healing and well-being for new mother. As we move further, we will dive into perimenopause, a period of transition where women often face challenges like brain fog, anxiety, and hot flashes. Together, we will uncover lifestyle adjustment that can bring more stability, highlight dietary choices that can make a real difference, and understand which habit might worsen these symptoms. For women entering menopause, we will also discuss the importance of calcium, basically diet importance, covering calcium and probiotics. In today's discussion, we will break down each of these topics to empower you with insight and practical advice, supporting your well being through the varied, wonderful, and sometimes challenging phases of womanhood. Stay with us, we will uncover ways to nourish, support, and care for yourself at every step of the journey. So, starting with Priyanka, becoming a mother is a big, exciting moment, but it can also come with unexpected feeling of sadness and worry. Many wonder why this emotion appear during such a special time. So let's just explore what brings on these baby blues and why they are so common for these moms. So, welcome Priyanka, and my first question is related to that only. That why does postpartum depression, commonly known as PPD or baby blues, why does it happen, and what causes these emotional ups and downs?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Vikas. I think, as you rightly mentioned, so this is a great topic which is under discussed normally. That is the postpartum time. So what happens? So a lot is discussed already about pregnancy and the type of things to eat, how to get a very good-looking baby, and so many other things which are there. But what about what happens afterwards? And as you mentioned, like baby blues, and sometimes in the advanced form. So baby blues is something which is extremely common, but it may or may not result in postpartum depression, because postpartum depression is a serious thing that can be a very advanced version of baby blues. Now the question is, why do these happen? So I would talk about three things here. So the first one is, when you are pregnant, the body has a lot of this hormone which is called progesterone. We have spoken about this in our various female health talks that we have done. So the progesterone is naturally high during pregnancy, and that's why when women are pregnant, their mood is always good, they feel happy, they get the pregnancy glow and all those things. So that is thanks to progesterone. But after the delivery, progesterone goes, and then you are coming back to the normalized version of those hormones. So that is number one, that you come from a very high level of a feel good hormone, and a hormone that makes you glow, the hormone that makes you feel just generally very good about life, to a low version of that. So that's number one. Number two, to understand the second point, we need to understand something called HPA axis, which is hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis. Now, what are these three things? They work together. So, hypothalamus is the center of your brain, which is responsible for judging ki, am I in some danger? The fear center, the fight or flight center. Like, if anything happens, it wants to activate everything, that okay, like I am in danger, let's get started on something. Pituitary is your master gland, so which will understand, okay, there is fear, there is some threat happening, and I have to take some actions. And adrenals are the one which releases your stress hormones. So what happens when your HPA, so your HPA axis at this time of, when you are just delivered, this axis becomes hypersensitive, because one, your sleep is getting disturbed all the time. First 6 weeks, first 2 months are quite tough. Like, there is hardly any sleep, and, there is a lot to take care of. It's a little overwhelming, too much change. So inside the tummy, the baby is still, manageable, but outside it's like, it comes with its own set of demands. And, and especially these demands come at a time when you are very, very sleep deprived. So what happens?
Correct.
It results in an increase in stress in the body. When increase in stress, it results in an increased cortisol level. So HPA excess, adrenal gets activated, they release excess cortisol. Now, when the body is under continuous excess cortisol, it puts a stress on your gut as well. So your gut sometimes, like, what happens is, those tight junctions of the gut, which are supposed to keep the food inside the gut and not in the outside zone, they become leaky. So it is very tightly held junction, the gut, but in times of stress, it is like becoming leaky. वो stress में मतलब अपना control थोड़ा थोड़ा उसका leak होना start हो जाता है. And so your high cortisol results in a leaky gut. Now, when the gut becomes leaky, a lot of food items start coming into the bloodstream, which they shouldn't be coming. Correct. When they come, immune system starts activating ki what is happening in the blood. These are some foreign items in the blood. So it results in increased inflammation in the body. Now, with increased inflammation, there is more stress happening. So HPA axis is even becoming more sensitive. That, okay, something is definitely wrong is happening. I have to do something. Then pituitary says, okay, more cortisol. So वो पूरा एक cycle चल पड़ता है. So your excess stress, more cortisol means more leaky gut means higher inflammation. Inflammation is like fire in the body. Higher fire means more fear. Then again problem, more fight or flight. Okay, some wrong is happening. There is too much fire happening in the body. So this becomes like a cycle of a hypersensitive HPA axis. Now, this is extremely common, especially the baby blues are very, very common for the first 15-20 days. But now, depending upon how many proper lifestyle choices you make, they may continue for a long time. So first 10, 15, 20 days will happen with pretty much everyone. But how long they continue depends on what are the other things which are happening in the vicinity. So that is like the point number 2. The first one we discussed was progesterone going down. The second is a hypersensitive HPA axis. And the third is because of, which is related to the first, to the HPA axis only, because of the leaky gut. The gut's functioning starts becoming a little inferior compared to what it was earlier. And 95% of your serotonin, which is your feel-good hormone, is produced in the gut. So you get attacked by multiple angles on all the feel-good things which were happening. So there was progesterone, which was feel-good, that has gone down post-pregnancy. There is like, your sensitivity around the fight or flight response, lack of sleep causing more cortisol, then, it leading to a hyperactive fear centers, hyperactive fight or flight responses happening in the body. And then because of the leaky gut, your serotonin production goes down, which is the feel-good hormone. So these are the 3 reasons you can think of why baby blues happen. And depending upon how much you are able to help these things come back as soon as to normal, they will continue for that much long time. The longer they continue, the higher intensity they could get. And that is what the purpose of today's discussion is. How do we get these points to normalize as soon as possible?
Right. Priyanka, you will have to explain these steps. What I could understand is that one is that feel-good factor goes down because there were too many complex names. I'm not able to remember all the names. So feel-good factor hormones goes down, and then due to fight and flight response, cortisol is released, and then we have leaky gut, resulting in again that mood swings, baby blues. But I'm not. If I want to understand in a simple language that what exactly happens in woman's body.
So there are 2 or 3 things happening together in the body at that point in time. So feel good doesn't come from just one hormone. There are multiple, like, you have dopamine, you have serotonin, you have progesterone happening. So what happens? Serotonin is going down because there is attack on the gut. Progesterone is going down because pregnancy has ended. And then there is general lack of sleep, which is causing a hyperactive fear centers in the body, which are exacerbating the problem. So that's how, the problem
We
happens.
can say that too many changes at a time, resulting in
Yes.
mood swings. All the body is changing, and that's why
Correct.
baby blues.
Correct.
Okay. And after the baby is born, early days with newborn can be really overwhelming. But some simple lifestyle habits can actually make it easier. So, let's look at how few key changes can help you mind and body recover after childbirth. So, Priyanka, what lifestyle changes can help prevent baby blues or postpartum depression and support new mom in feeling balanced?
Correct. So here, I'll talk about, so what are these lifestyle changes and how are they helping us? So first, let's see. See, it is not like if you do any of these things, let's say you do just one thing, we will talk about 4 things right now, but you do, let's say, just one thing. It's not like once you start doing that one thing, the depression or the baby blues will completely go away. See, think of it like your expenses are coming. Let's say you have zero account balance and your expenses are coming. And now the expense comes for 100 rupees. So you are negative, so minus 100. That's what your right status is. But
Correct.
let's say I do one positive change. I will get plus 20 balance in my bank account. So when the 100 rupee expense comes, I am at minus 80.
Correct.
Right? If I do 2 things, and let's say the second thing is adding another 30, when the 100 rupee expense comes, I am at minus 50.
Correct.
So whatever we will talk about is all those things will keep on adding, but do not think of them as completely taking away the 100, but they are reducing the intensity. With every right lifestyle change that you do, your intensity for the hit will be that much lesser. So it's not like, you can think of it ki, if I do this one thing, guaranteed postpartum depression is gone, or guaranteed your baby blues will stop from the moment you take this action. But they will hurt you less. So instead of hurting by minus 100, they are now hurting at the speed of minus 50. So that is what you have to understand and take that perspective as a whole overall. So the lifestyle changes that we will talk about will fall under 4 categories, and okay, maybe a bonus category that at the end. So these 4 categories. The first one is women who can initiate breastfeeding at the earliest. Research says they are found to have much lesser instances of postpartum depression. So so sometimes what happens is, because neither the baby is used to breastfeeding nor the woman is used to breastfeeding, so initial time is a little tricky, especially the first 10-15 days. So, and many times what happens is, because it is so tricky, people will say, okay, let's put him on formula. And not like then, the breastfeeding goes for a toss. And the thing about breastfeeding is, if you are not feeding, then the milk supply will go down. So because, the nature would think, okay, maybe now the baby is no more there. So milk supply will start going down. So it is the first 1 week, the woman needs a lot of support and maybe a good amount of guidance from the doctor or whosoever, senior members in the family to initiate the breastfeeding. It will be a little challenging. It will be a little tough, but people who are able to initiate that, because their milk supply will then continue for months or years, depending upon how long they feed the baby, their chances of coming into depression or high intensity baby blues are much, much lower. So that's number one. And there, the longer you feed the baby, the happier. One, it is very good for the baby, but it is also very, very good for you. It is extremely good for your body, for your own hormones, and for your own long-term health, for your own long-term reproductive health. Chances of people getting any type of reproductive issues in people who have breastfed for a long time, the chance of instances of breast cancers are lower. So you are not just making your baby healthy, you are also making your chances of future diseases much, much lesser. So that's the beauty of the first first lifestyle, and it's not really a lifestyle thing. It is something that nature has designed. So that's number one. The second one is like sleep, which is, in the initial times, sleep is highly disturbed, but effort should be made to sleep as soon as the baby sleeps, or rest as soon as the baby rests. Now, if you have some tools of resting even when you are not getting high amount of sleep, that's the beauty that we will discuss here. So there are certain types of music that you can listen to, certain type of meditations that you can do. A lot of them are available on UVAP Music for the Soul. Now that music will not just calm the baby, but will also calm you. Because you will say, ki, okay, now the baby sleeps at 2 p.m. Sometimes the baby sleeps at 5 p.m. I'm not sleepy at that time. Completely understandable. But then if you are playing that music and listening to that music at that time, your body is as if it is in a sleep zone. So don't count your sleep hours, that if you are used to sleeping for 8 hours, you might not get 8 hours for like some months. So that is not going to happen. But what will happen? Those hours when I just listen to music, they also count as mini versions of sleep. So incorporate music in your baby's life. And it is also said that babies, especially this initial period, if they listen to music, especially Indian classical music, their brain development is very solid. So not only, so see, all these things, the breastfeeding aspect, the music aspect, these are helping both the mother and the child. It's not just for the mother. So because in nature, things happen together. You don't have to, it's not at the exclusion of one. कि इसका ध्यान कम रखेंगे तो ये बढ़ेगा. No, they happen together. So baby will get, so if you want like intelligent babies, give them access to music early on in life. This will calm them. They will become less colicky. See, initially babies have digestive issues, which is called colic. So they will become less colicky. They will have a better chance of, good mental, development, and you will also feel calmer. So that's the sleep part. Then the third part is diet. Now this is a big one. Now third is like, that's where we should really focus. And here I'm, when we talk about diet, let's look at it in two primary sections: the macros and the micros. So what about the macros? What are the three type of, the big macros that we have, which is carbs, proteins, and fats. And I actually call 4 macros fiber because of the high importance that it holds, right? So when we speak about, so let's talk about them one by one. The first one is fats, very important at this time. So do not start worrying about, I have to lose weight, I have to lose weight. Initial 6 months, just chill. And, just relax, get the baby in order, get the house in order, because, everything, it's a big change. So first one is fat. Fat, like, good sources of fat. The higher amount of omega-3s that you have in your diet, walnut, flaxseed, chia seeds, and good A2 cow desi ghee. All these things contribute to not just your recovery becoming faster, your milk production becoming better, but also like, your the chances of your postpartum depression going down. Because omega-3 is extremely effective for brain health. And where does depression start from? From the brain. Where does, baby blues, your anxiety starts from the brain. So if you are giving the food, which is very good for the brain, means that this will really help. So omega-3s. Then let's come to proteins, the second category in the macros. Proteins may, you need a lot of good quality, healthy proteins. Now, what are the healthy type of proteins? And again, like, make sure, some people will say that these proteins will, they will cause gas and they will cause like, various type of things. But if you take them properly cooked, if you take them in the proper form, like, sprouted form, and along with a lot of good fats, this would mean that your chance of, any kind of bloating that happens also reduces. Plus, there are a lot of Indian herbs that you can put in them. So ajwain you can put. In fact, like, when the newborn baby happens, if you take ajwain water, this helps a lot with the digestion part. So good proteins like your beans, your almonds, your peanuts, your seeds, different type of seeds, and if you can digest at that time, tofu. See, again here the aspect of personalization will come a lot. You have to
Correct.
continuously be listening to your body, because each baby is different, each body is different, and what causes bloating in one person does not necessarily causing bloating in other people. And especially, even if your body is causing bloating for one type of dal, when you sprout it and when you take it with good amount of ghee on top, sometimes it doesn't. When you take it with a lot of fiber, it doesn't. So you have to see those aspects, especially for your personal body type, what happens. But good protein, easily digestible protein, let's say कि मैं ये दाल नहीं पचा पा रही हूँ, मे बी मैं almonds और उसका जो मेरा ड्राई फ्रूट स्मूदी है, that I am able to digest quite well. Soaked almonds, soaked walnuts, soaked seeds, and then I just make a smoothie out of it. I have no problem at all with that. So you will have to see which are the good sources of proteins that you can easily absorb and easily digest, not feeling bloated at that point. So that was macrome category number 2. So first was our fat, second is protein.
Right.
So good fat, good protein. The third one is carbs. You will, especially if you are breastfeeding, you will feel super hungry. मतलब you will just be so hungry, you will think like, मैं इतना खाना मैंने कभी जिंदगी में नहीं खाया, how am I eating so much? Like I remember when Yuman was born, I would be eating so many those गोंद के लड्डू, like I'm like, दिन में 5 खा जाओगे आप, but it is extremely normal, right? Because what happens is, when you are breastfeeding, your body is actually, see, a baby would be drinking about 2 liters of milk on a daily basis. Like let's say अभी थोड़ा सा बिल्कुल छोटा नहीं, but 1-2 महीने के बाद, like 2 liters of milk, it takes a lot of energy for the body to produce that. And no matter how much you eat, body will still take it from your own reserves. And that is why in pregnancy, if you see, women tend to put a lot of weight around their abdomen, in their thighs, at their hips. Why? Because even after the baby comes out, this is the reserve for the breastfeeding. So people who breastfeed, so then these deposits of fat, they start dissolving and becoming milk. That's why the milk is very, it is full of fat at that point in time. Like, once we did an experiment also, so the pump milk we saw, it was like quite creamy. So these are the cream that comes from your thighs and from your hips. So all those people who, like, who want to lose weight post pregnancy, there, I don't think there is anything better than breastfeeding, because the body reserves it for this thing. Because kitna bhi khao, you will be hungry. And that is why you need good sources of food at that point. You don't want, like, plain sugars, processed food, because one, they are like zero nutrient value, but hardly any value, and then neither will they help you in your milk production or anything like that. So you need complex carbs, good carbs. Then of course fiber, because what did we discuss in the first part? Serotonin comes from the gut. 95% of serotonin comes from the gut. So if your gut friends are not happy, you will not be happy. As simple as that. Because they make you happy. So, and what do they eat? They eat fiber. Fiber means rainbow diet. Rainbow diet means all the different colors, different fruits, different vegetables, change कर करके आप ले रहे हैं अलग अलग colors के, and that's why we call them rainbow. Now these, which is good fat, good protein, and good sources of your carbs, including fiber. Okay. What about
Right.
micros? So micros may, you need like vitamins like vitamin D. So make sure you are getting your sunshine. You need
Right.
your vitamin B complex, B12, because B12 again is related to a lot of nervous issues, and depression is from the nervous system. So B12 का आपको देखना होगा कि if you need any, with your doctor's consult, like अगर supplementation या natural sources like curd and all you can take, and folic acid. So ये जो है, and iron. So these things, you will have to make sure your diet is rich in all these things like iron, folic acid, B12, vitamin B, and then these vitamin D to sunlight or good sources of dairy वहां पे आप ले सकते हैं. So this is, and the better your diet is, and especially अगर pregnancy में भी मैंने diet अच्छी रखी थी, my chances of postpartum depression would be lower. Because depression कैसे होता है? You have to see stress eats the nutrients as well. See, हम लोग बोलते हैं, मेरी body में nutrient profile, like, I'm eating a very nutrient rich diet. Now, where do those nutrients get consumed? They get consumed when I am working, they get consumed when I am thinking, and all those things. Stress consumes a lot of these minerals. It consumes a lot of these vitamins. So, the better is my starting position, उतना अच्छा मैं स्ट्रेस के अंदर परफॉर्म कर पाऊंगी. See, this is the time when the body gets really stressed. Now, if जैसे कि अगर मेरा ग्लास का बना हुआ है, if my container is made up of glass, मैं उसको स्ट्रेस दूंगी, जैसे ही एक हथौड़ा मारूंगी वो टूट जाएगा. But if my container is made up of relatively better, मतलब like more solid material like steel, वो हथौड़ा मारने पे नहीं टूटेगा. And postpartum is a time when the body does go through a lot of stress. So, जितना मैंने पहले भी काम किया होगा प्रेगनेंसी में, while trying to get pregnant and all those things, by eating the right things, the lower are my chances of getting into more and advanced versions of baby blues or advanced versions of postpartum depression. So that's what we need to do. We need to have a diet which is balanced macros, and and once you are balancing your macros and fiber वगैरह आप ले रहे हो, तो even जो ये हमारे माइक्रो हैं, like your B complex, your vitamin C, वो अपने आप में बैलेंस हो जाते हैं. तो that is why this importance of balanced diet is there, and especially during pregnancy. आप अगर उसमें they say antioxidants वगैरह काफी खाने चाहिए. If possible, once your doctor allows it, आप अगर ग्राउंडिंग करोगे, अर्थ इज द बिगेस्ट एंटीऑक्सीडेंट. सो नंगे पांव अगर आप घास पे उस टाइम घूमते हो, आफ्टर लाइक इनिशियल 15-20 डेज, शुरू में तो थोड़ा बेड रेस्ट वगैरह भी हो सकता है लोगों को, बट डिपेंडिंग अपॉन जब डॉक्टर ने ओके किया है, उसके बाद वंस यू गो आउट फॉर वॉकिंग, थोड़ा बेयर फीट ग्राउंडिंग करना, right? And the second thing is, like, the bonus tip which I wanted to give is, whatever is your mother-in-law, your mother, or your seniors feeding you at that point, like, गोंद के लड्डू, अजवाइन का पानी, मेथी for increasing milk production, nuts and seeds के लड्डू अलग अलग बन के आएंगे आपके लिए. Then आपका घी, right? A2 का देसी घी भी काफी आपका डाइट में डाला जाएगा. Make sure to enjoy it. बाद में कोई इतना नहीं पूछने वाला. So इसके लिए वो एंजॉय करो वो टाइम, ओके. एंड डू नॉट लाइक उसमें ये मत करो कि हम मोटे हो जाएंगे, कुछ नहीं होगा. मतलब वो 6 months के बाद, वंस योर डॉक्टर अलाउज, देयर आर इनफ नंबर ऑफ थिंग्स, सब लोग हो जाते हैं पतले, थोड़ा टाइम देना पड़ता है. एंड दोज 4-5 months में एकदम स्ट्रेस डाल के, बॉडी हैज ऑलरेडी गॉन थ्रू अ लॉट, यू डोंट वांट टू अननेसेसरी स्ट्रेस इट. इफ यू आर लेस स्ट्रेस्ड एंड यू आर लिसनिंग टू म्यूजिक, आप अपना ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग कर रहे हैं, ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग से जितना वेट लॉस होगा, कोई एक्सरसाइज उतना नहीं कर सकती.
Correct.
So these are the, like, the 4 or 5 things that are the lifestyle factors for postpartum, and this, if you are doing, your chance of getting into a postpartum depression are significantly reduced.
Right. So basically, we need to understand, once we go for these lifestyle changes, this will not only help the mother, but it is good for child also. And some of the steps which were given by Priyanka were, first, that we have to, mother has to initiate breastfeeding as soon as possible and keep it doing for a longer term. Second one is, you should have a good sleep, and since at that time sleep do get affected, which I have also heard from many of my friends. So we can use music which is available at UVAP Music, Indian classical music, which is good for child also. Third thing is that we have to go for good diet. In diet we have macro, wherein we have to take good carbs, good protein, and good fats. In micro we have to go for vitamin D, vitamin B, B12, B complex, so various, and iron and folic acid. And the fourth one was grounding, wherein we have to walk bare feet on grass, which you can do, and along with that you will also cover your micro requirement of vitamin D. And last one is that whatever comes your way from your mother-in-law, seniors, कौन के लड्डू आते हैं, या जैसे मेरी मम्मा बनाती है, वो प्रोटीन बार्स बनाती है घर पे, तो enjoy that thing and उसको enjoy करो, and then we can go ahead with the that.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely. Enjoy the attention that you are getting. बाद में नहीं
right.
मिलेगी.
Short term. Right. So, perimenopause can bring changes that feel confusing, like brain fog or anxiety. But with the right adjustment, you can feel steadier and stronger. So, let's find out how some smart lifestyle shifts can ease this transition. So, Priyanka, what lifestyle tips can help with perimenopause symptoms like brain fog and anxiety?
Sure. So see, perimenopause, let's define perimenopause. So this is something that, most women would go through. Some can go like really early, which is like, starting 35 years of age. But normally it would happen somewhere between 40 to 50 years of age. That's what is perimenopause. And the type of symptoms that you would get would be night sweats, hot flashes, brain fog, now irregular periods. And it is actually a combination of a lot of mini things which are very different from person to person. Now
Correct.
again, like depending up, and actually these, some of them are really serious changes like brain fog. I was reading through a research by Lisa Mosconi, Dr. Lisa Mosconi, and वहां पर actually the brain size goes down. The brain size goes down by 20% at that point in time, which is like a really serious thing. But whatever happens, like as a natural part of aging, means that it will have certain answers in nature also, which if you are living in sync with that, probably you might be able to reduce that. So there, like I would like to mention it as कि मेनोपॉज तो होगा ही होगा, राइट? उसमें देर आर लाइक यू, दैट इज अ नेचुरल थिंग. बट सिम्टम्स जो हैं, जरूरी नहीं है कि वो सारे के सारे सिम्टम्स हों. एंड वी कैन स्टडी द पॉपुलेशंस विच गेट जनरली लेस सिम्टम्स and the populations which get more symptoms to see that are there any lifestyle clues that we can get from the population which has significantly lesser amount of symptoms, to learn from them and see ki what can everyone benefit from. So the reasons for, I'm so sorry about this. So the reasons for your perimenopause symptoms, see, not the stage, but the symptoms in that stage, comes from primarily four categories. Four type of, four type of things that happen in your body which causes or exacerbates those symptoms. The first one are physiological things. Now, what are those physiological things? Things like aging. You can't do really much about it. Then you have your metabolic rate going down. Could you take certain steps in your lifestyle to increase your metabolic rate? Probably, which will be discussed. Then there is your muscle mass going down, because muscle mass starts going down almost at the rate of 1%, and in some cases, depending upon your lifestyle, at an even faster rate post 40. So your muscle mass goes down. Then if you have thyroid or PCOS, good luck. Then it's like even more symptoms, that means. And if you have any type of muscles or skeletal problems, like some disease that you have which is kind of eating into your muscles or your bones, which means the problems will come more in this stage. So these are the physiological category of symptoms which happen and which increase your symptoms in this stage, perimenopause. The second reason is hormonal. Your estrogen is going down. See, the main thing, like how the perimenopause happens, is your estrogen starts going down with age. And sometimes in cases where you have PCOD, your male hormones will still remain high. So female hormone going down and male hormone remaining at a higher stage, that can also cause more symptoms. The third category is lifestyle. If you have a diet which is very high in calories, just overeating, processed food, sugary food, lack of fiber, you have a lifestyle in which you have a lot of exposure to chemicals. Chemicals, not just through what you eat, processed food, all the packaged food, food that does not expire like for months or years even. So that is all laden with chemicals. The skincare products that you use, the chemicals that are there in those skincare products, they seep into your body and increase your severity of those symptoms. See, menopause will happen, but it need not be painful. So those things, and that is what we are learning here. So your lack of vitamin D, your lack of sunlight, which is basically like if your lifestyle does not have any space for sunlight, your lack of nutrients in general, like if you check your nutrient profile and then you are lacking in vitamin C, vitamin B, so those lack of nutrients, that's a lifestyle factor that will increase your risk for these symptoms. You have irregular sleep, and then two big ones, like really big ones. They do not affect till you hit 40. After 40, good luck if you are a smoker or if you drink alcohol. They are really big ones. Like people
Sorry,
say,
what was that? What was alcohol and other was?
smoke. So they,
Okay.
like, your body can tolerate them till you are 40. Post that, they will increase the severity to quite a large extent. Even one glass of
This for
wine.
women, right?
This is for, so okay, we are not yeah, see, but you have to understand certain psychologies work, certain physiologies work similar, except for the reproductive organ. The lungs work in a similar fashion, the digestive tract, the gut health, your thyroid hormone, your brain, a lot of those things are similar. Of course there are dissimilarities, and because the last two sessions have been focused on women, so we are talking here primarily about women. So smoking and drinking, if you are getting symptoms, these two, and if you're doing smoking or drinking, serious things. And they can, even one glass, see, what one of the major symptoms in perimenopause is sleeps get disturbed, your night sweats. So if your sleep is disturbed, and you may say, okay, I went to a party, just one glass of wine, it will get more disturbed. Your chance of getting night sweats at that night and having a disturbed sleep is much, much higher. So
Correct.
even just one glass. So this is like, till 40, okay, doesn't matter. Post 40 definitely matters. So this is like, and this is all research backed. We will put in the show notes all the research that we have done to, create the content for this particular podcast. So all the research will be there. So if you have like, so just lifestyle factors ko ek baar dobara say, like I'll just repeat: high calorie diet, low fiber diet, sweet, you are eating a lot of sweets, a lot of processed food, lot of chemicals, whether through going through your mouth or through your skincare or through your cosmetics, lack of vitamin D, which is lack of sunlight. Then you have lack of physical activity or a very sedentary lifestyle, lack of sleep, and the big ones, smoking and drinking. If you have symptoms,
Right.
if you are not getting any symptoms, maybe you are the lucky one, you can still enjoy. But if you are getting symptoms, these are the two culprits that are to be blamed for a lot of them. And then the last section, so we discussed the physiological factors, the hormonal factors, the lifestyle factors, and the fourth one is the psychological factors, which make you much more prone to these symptoms. So if you have had any history of depression in your life so far, again, your chances become higher at this stage as well. If you are someone who is already prone to anxiety, mood swings, if you get symptoms when your monthly periods are coming, so those last PMS is what you call. So like if you are getting those symptoms at that point, chance of you getting these symptoms in your perimenopause is a little higher, and hence the solutions will help you a lot more. And if you, again, like any depression or trauma history, if you have, again it affects the endocrine system. यहाँ पर सारे चेंज जो हो रहे होते हैं आपके एस्ट्रोजन के नीचे जाने की वजह से हो रहे हैं. So anything that messes with the endocrine system, whether it is through food, whether it is through chemicals, whether it is through your lifestyle habits or through trauma, those if you disturb your endocrine system in any way when it is already at a delicate stage, then the symptoms increase in intensity. And that is what we want to avoid. The first step is you don't want to attack it, and which is what this section is about. And then we can discuss how do we support it. So first thing is you have to stop attacking it. That पहले ही delicate है, अब तक चल रहा था, but अभी इस टाइम वो कांच का ग्लास बना हुआ है, अब वो टूटेगा. So you don't want to now throw it. See, अभी तक वो नहीं टूट रहा था because you were younger. अब उसके टूटने के chances are much much higher because now वो anyway वो delicate stage पे पहुंच गया. See, जैसे we discuss the postpartum stage. See, the postpartum stage is a period when the body has just gone through a lot of stress. And these things get tested. How severe the symptoms come, they get tested when the body is going through a period of change. And so is this period, like, and the better you serve the body when you are not in these periods and during these periods. So जब हमारा ये वाला phase नहीं चल रहा and we are supporting the body means हमारा जो initial level होगा जाने का, that will be a strong level. और अभी अगर हम already उस phase में हैं, so that means कि हम जितना support करेंगे और जितना attack ना करेंगे, उतना better होगा. So this is, these are the 4 segments why you get all the symptoms. Some of them are lifestyle, some of them are, the way the body is, your physiological, some of them are psychological, and some are pure hormonal, जिसमें आप किसी ऐसे फैक्टर है जिसमें आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते, and किसी ऐसे फैक्टर है जहां आप बहुत कुछ कर सकते हो. And that is what we will discuss.
Right. So we have understood that. I'm getting echo from my voice. Are you also hearing my voice? Is there any echo?
No. To me, it's all right.
Okay. So basically, we have understood that what causes this symptom is that it could be physiological changes, hormonal changes, lifestyle disorder, and psychological issues like history of depression. So we have understood that perimenopause symptoms can be tough, but sometimes certain things make them worse. By avoiding few key triggers, you can make the experience smoother. And here is what to skip to help you feel better during this time. So Priyanka, if we want to understand what should women avoid during perimenopause to help with symptoms like we discussed in last question, like hot flashes, brain fog. So what can we do that? What can we avoid?
Sure. So I will talk about 5 foods that you can avoid, that, these 5 items if you could avoid. And then we will also talk about 5 lifestyle, so not 5, but maybe, 3 lifestyle things that we can change or avoid if we are in that zone. So what are those 5 foods or, things that we do to avoid? The first one is sugary foods. So if you are taking any foods which are like processed, having, a lot of added sugar, sometimes you don't even think these things have sugar, but a lot of things. So start reading the labels. Label, जैसे वो, I really love this initiative which is Label Padega India. Extremely good. So सब लोग जैसे ही label पढ़ना शुरू करेंगे, half of the problem will get solved there itself. Because you can't, like, knowing it, see, you can take certain things unknowingly, but knowing it that I am eating, in this small glass, I am drinking 8 teaspoons of sugar, you might not be able to do it, but unknowingly you may be able to do it. So start reading your labels and avoid sugary food, added sugar. So read the labels and see wherever there are added sugars, we should avoid them, because we don't want anything that causes too much of spikes, too much of glucose spikes in the body. Already we are going through a lot, not more required. The second one is, the more you avoid any type of processed food. Processed food is something which is dead food, or which is something that you buy from, in packets. They come with the expiry date. Anything in food that comes with the expiry date is probably already expired. That's how you should remember it. Anything which has an expiry date is expired and will take you closer to your expiry date. So we don't want all that. Okay. So food mein bahar ka processed food, which is excess salts, all the bad type of fats it has, and then, chemicals which you don't even understand, you can't even pronounce those names. So we want to avoid all that. And when it comes to chemicals, I would like to say, so this is not food, but even in your skincare, whatever, minimize as much as possible, minimize the exposure to chemicals. A lot of the things, read the label. If you don't understand the label, do not buy the product. Make sure you understand the label. Today you have Google Scholar. Just write the name of the item there and you will see like how many things it can cause. A lot of those toxins in skincare, there are, a lot of them are endocrine disruptor. What is endocrine? Endocrine is hormones. And what are you going through? You are going through a hormone mess. When you are already in a hormone mess situation, do you want to create the storm further? Probably not. So you have to avoid chemicals. That's second. Then third is fried food or bad fats. Fats which you get, trans fats which you get again in the processed foods. So this will actually already get sorted if you are doing the first and the second part. If you are not taking food which is packed, probably, those biscuits, those cookies, you can never burn off that fat. Those cookies and biscuits will always stay. It's a complete myth ki calorie in, calorie out. Complete myth. Are calorie in from a cucumber and calorie in from a cookie, how can they be same? Like really rubbish. And then you become like a calorie counting machine, which is furthering your stress. So calorie in is never calorie out. Avoid the bad fat. Avoid any type of fried food to the extent possible. And then the last two, we already spoke about those, which is smoking and alcohol. You were able to tolerate them so far, but now the tolerance level will go down by a very high degree. And when you are already getting night sweats and you are already disturbed sleep, you don't want to disturb it any further. So smoking and alcohol has to be avoided completely if possible. Like, and you can, like you may say कि एक glass ले सकते हैं, या जो भी मतलब sometimes once a week ले ले and all that stuff. हाँ, जिस दिन अपनी नींद खराब करनी है उस दिन ले लो. Especially if you are the one who is getting night sweats. So मतलब आप ले सकते हो, but उस दिन भी cognizant कि आज की नींद थोड़ा हिलेगी, थोड़ा की ज्यादा भी हिल सकती है. वो अब आपकी body to body vary करेगा. See again, like this is highly personalized and this depends from body to body, and you will need to see आपका exact क्या है. But these are certain things which have got so many bad implications कि it is much better avoided. So these 5 items. Now, few things that we need to remember in lifestyle, especially when a woman is in perimenopause, is one, find out what triggers you. See, these symptoms you might not be getting every day. These symptoms you may be getting on certain days only. So you will have to have a very closer look at your life. Just observe it. Like, let's say you are getting sleep issues. Maybe you want to avoid coffee in the second half of the day. Or maybe you want to avoid coffee altogether, because some women get all these things, especially अगर आपको sleep के issues आ रहे हैं, तो maybe coffee को avoid करना पड़ सकता है, या उसको लेना है तो early morning में लिया ताकि नींद तक ना पहुंचे बिल्कुल भी. Second thing is, let's say if you are getting a lot of hot flashes, which is a lot of heat coming out of the body, so maybe you need to avoid spicy food or hot food. Too hot or too spicy. Maybe that is exacerbating the situation. Maybe your alcohol is causing your sleep issues. Or maybe sometimes you will see, if you are more stressed, then you get more symptoms. So आपको अपने triggers जो हैं वो थोड़े से देखने पड़ेंगे, उनको थोड़ा समझना पड़ेगा और उनको लेना पड़ेगा. And that's why, understanding those things become very, very important. So understand your triggers. Second thing is, do not count calories all the time. Do not be a calorie counting machine. And especially if you are making your body in a calorie deficit, highly calorie deficit stage at that point in time, you are putting your body in survival mode. And survival mode stress is something you don't want at this stage. Because stress will make the symptoms much, much worse. And the last one is, you need to avoid something which is called a rushing woman syndrome. मतलब भाग रहे हैं यहाँ से वहां in like literally as well as figuratively. Literally कैसे, खाली कार्डियो ही करे जा रहे हैं, भागे जा रहे हैं, कहीं नहीं पहुंच रहे, भाग रहे हैं, वेट कहीं नहीं जा रहा, जो एब्डोमेन पे वेट है वो एज इट इज रहने वाला है. So that rushing woman syndrome, like ये भी like कि भागना, literally भागना, and I'm not saying कि भागना is bad. मतलब अगर आप उसको properly करो, and that can be another episode on ki what to type of workouts for this stage, but it has to be mixed with your muscle building exercises, your resistance training, and otherwise also in life you might want to take it a little easy. See, by that I do not mean कि आपका काम कम हो जाएगा. It's a complete myth कि जब भी आप हाइपर होते हो आप तभी अच्छा काम करते हो. If this is opposite, the more hyper you are and the more things that you have to do, like यहाँ से यहाँ, यहाँ से यहाँ, यहाँ से यहाँ, probably ढंग का एक भी नहीं लिया. इससे अच्छा ढंग के उसके आधे करो, शांति से करो. So that is something that this. That day I was like, I was just doing a walk with Amulya in the morning, and I was just saying, कई बार ऐसा होता है कि just वेले हो आप और walk कर रहे हो, no mobile phone. What are you doing? Just वेले. Just looking at nature, just people may, now this is so rare these days. लोगों को लग सकता है कि आप आपने डोप किया हुआ है, आप कुछ ड्रग लिए हुए हो कि पेड़ को देख रहे हो, because this is a common thing people do, certain drugs, then you will keep watching a tree for 5 hours. See, I'm not saying 5 hours, but कुछ आपकी लाइफ में वो पीरियड होना चाहिए which is agendaless, no agenda, just doing, just chilling. Like ये भी नहीं कि भाई फ्राइडे नाइट है तो पक्का मूवी देखनी ही है, वो एजेंडा हो गया. So just going out and I don't know what I'll do, I'll see, figure it out. वेला,
कोई काम ना करना is also an art.
हाँ, थोड़ा वेलापन रहना. सी, पुराने आज के जमाने में वो वेलापन is missing. So थोड़ा सा आपको वो भी अपनी लाइफ में ऐड करना चाहिए. If it is too rushed, you will get a lot of worse symptoms. You need a little chill. And like by chill I don't mean chill की जो डेफिनेशन इंस्टाग्राम ने दी है, मैं चिल करूंगा और मैं फोटो खींचूंगा. अरे भाई चिल खत्म हो गया फोटो खींचते ही. चिल मतलब I don't care about anything, I'm just chilling. So that is what, like, these are the things to be avoided at that stage.
Right. So I will just give a brief about everything we have discussed. For foods to avoid, one is we have to avoid sugary food. We have to read the label. If sugar content is high, we have to avoid that, because label padega India, tabhi to badega India. Yes. We have to avoid processed food, no dead food, only live food. If expiry date is mentioned on the product, that means it is already expired, and it will bring you closer to your expiry. We have to avoid chemicals. Even in skincare products, we have to read all the ingredients. If you're not able to understand anything, mention the product on Google. You will get to know whether it is safe for you or not. So always go for the clean product, even in case of skincare also. And we have to avoid fried food, avoid bad fat, and avoid smoking and alcohol, as we have discussed in last question also. And for your lifestyle, you have to look for triggers, observe your body, what it says. Like in case of hot flashes, you might be having spicy food, or for your stress, it might be because of having too much alcohol. So that is the first point. And second one is don't count calorie, don't be a calorie counting machine. Thoda ease karo, aram se karo, slow and steady wins the race. And third one is again the third, this slow and steady will also cover the last point also, that rushing movement syndrome should not be there.
थोड़ा वेलापन के लिए टाइम रखो.
Correct. Okay, so now that as our body change, our nutritional needs changes also along with the same. During perimenopause, certain foods can help you feel more balanced and energized. So let us talk about what to eat to support your body in this phase. So Priyanka, like we discussed what food we have to avoid. So if we can just discuss foods that are best during perimenopause, that would be great for our audience.
Sure.
Yeah.
So first, let's, in here, like when we talk about what foods to eat, I don't want to give you a list of foods. What I would rather give you are some ground principles, so that whether you are sitting in Iceland or whether you are sitting in India or whether you are sitting in US, these principles will work at different places, rather than saying just the blueberries भाई ब्लूबेरी हर जगह नहीं मिलती, कहीं पे आंवला भी मिलता है, वो भी नहीं अच्छा होता है. So right, so यहाँ पर like if we talk about the principles which are the guiding principles, the first one is hydration. And when we say hydration, and you know, we will talk about 5 such principles. The first one being hydration. हाइड्रेशन में खाली पानी पीने की बात नहीं हो रही है, द मिनरल्स दैट कम विद वाटर उसका भी बात हो रहा है, राइट? द सेकेंड वन दैट वी हैव इज यू वांट टू बी ईटिंग फूड which keep your blood sugar balanced. You don't want spikes of the sugar happening just going up and down. So that is principle number 2. You want to be eating a food which does not cause spikes in blood sugar. The third one is you want to be eating an anti-inflammatory diet because you are in a period in your life where there is normally a lot of fire happening. So you want to be eating foods जो कि fire extinguishing का काम करते हैं. This is a little related to the first point, which is the hydration, because पानी है तो वो fire को extinguish भी कर देगा. So you want to be eating a diet जो कि inflammation को कम करता है. The fourth one, friends, ये हर जगह पहुंच जाते हैं. हमने जितने भी टॉपिक्स डिस्कस किए हैं, गट फ्रेंड्स, हमारे जो गट के जो फ्रेंड्स हैं, बिकॉज सी they will make an appearance in pretty much, you know, any topic that you talk, given their importance. Kyunki, you know, your gut friends make your estrogen dance properly. We have spoken about it multiple times that, you know, women की body में चाहे वो PCOD के टाइम की बात हो रही है या puberty की टाइम बात हो रही है या postpartum के टाइम की बात हो रही है, the better your hormones का status है as per how they should be, the better is your you know, overall health, and your gut friends help you in that as well. वो पूरा बैक स्टेज मैनेज करते हैं. खाली अकेले एक्टर का क्या करोगे, बैक स्टेज ही अगर खराब हो रखा है. सी दे आर द पीपल हु वर्क बिहाइंड द सीन. सी पिक्चर बनती है, आप देखते हीरो हीरोइन को, डायरेक्टर को नहीं डायरेक्टर दिखता नहीं है, लेकिन जो यश चोपड़ा जो काम कर सकता था, कहाँ सब लोग कर सकते हैं, राइट? सो दैट इज व्हाई these are the, you can say, the behind the scene actors. So keep your gut happy. Number 4. And number 5, and this is women specific particularly, that you need a high fat diet. It may be a little controversial. Everybody talks about low fat, but you need a high fat diet, high good fat diet. You need metabolic flexibility happening in the body. मतलब खाना मिला कार्ब्स के थ्रू तो भी ठीक है, खाना मिला फैट के थ्रू तो भी ठीक है. And you want to be having, like, you know, good sources of fats in your diet. So these are the 5 principles which you can apply depending upon whichever region you are in. Now इसमें ही अगर मैं just to help you guys a little further कि exactly if you want to कि मतलब खाना क्या है, right? तो उसमें हम बात करेंगे, like मैं कुछ categories बताती हूँ, and then what are the easy ways to incorporate that. The first category that we have is fiber. See, gut friend को कौन हैप्पी रखेगा? फाइबर हैप्पी रखेगा, राइट? सो गट फ्रेंड को अगर आप फाइबर खाते हो, और फाइबर को भी हम किस तरीके से खा रहे हैं, जिस तरह हम इस तरीके से खाएंगे कि हमारे न्यूट्रिएंट्स भी अच्छे हमें मिले, हमारा मैग्नीशियम भी वहीं से ही मिल जाए. हम कुछ ऐसा फाइबर के सोर्स देखें कि मैग्नीशियम भी वहीं मिल जाए, वाटर भी वहीं मिल जाए, हाइड्रेशन भी उसी के अंदर ही मिल जाए, राइट? सो मतलब ताकि ये जो प्रिंसिपल्स है, हम वो मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ फूड कैसे खाएं ताकि, यू नो, आई एम एबल टू गेट माय मैक्सिमम. ओके, मैग्नीशियम भी टिक मार्क हो गया, मेरा आयरन भी टिक मार्क हो गया, मेरा फाइबर भी टिक मार्क हो गया, विटामिन सी भी टिक मार्क हो गया. व्हाट कैन हेल्प यू? योर 5 सर्विंग्स ऑफ फ्रूट एंड वेजिटेबल. अगर अभी तक कुछ भी नहीं समझ आया था, इस पॉइंट को लिख लेना है. दिस अलोन विल हेल्प यू इन अ नंबर ऑफ थिंग्स. योर 5 सर्विंग्स ऑफ fruit and vegetable, preferably different colors, rainbow. क्योंकि जितना हम नेचुरल फ्रूट्स एंड वेजिटेबल्स लेंगे, आपकी हाइड्रेशन भी उसके अंदर आ जाएगी. सी खीरा इज अ सोर्स ऑफ हाइड्रेशन ऑल्सो. खाली पानी से हाइड्रेशन नहीं होता, इवन खीरा इज अ सोर्स ऑफ हाइड्रेशन दैट यू हैव, राइट? लाइक सो योर लाइक बिकॉज एंड जितना हम लोग अपने गट को हेल्दी रखेंगे, उतना हमारे चांसेस ऑफ एनी रिप्रोडक्टिव इश्यूज are that much better, are that much matlab lower. So your chances of any type of reproductive issues. The second one, which we already discussed, in our postpartum period was proteins. So you need good sources of proteins. They help you with appetite control. They keep you full for longer. They help with the muscle building. See, we spoke about why do we get the symptoms? क्योंकि muscle mass का loss हो रहा है. Physiological symptoms. So apart from exercising using resistance training, आपका protein के sources भी अच्छे होने चाहिए. Now, what are those good sources of proteins? You could be eating your sprouted legumes. आपके राजमा, छोले, different type of दालें, all those things soaked and sprouted ताकि अच्छे से absorb हो जाए. Then you could be eating your soybean. सोयाबीन की अलग अलग फॉर्म्स आती हैं, एडामामे, टोफू एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स. एंड इनफैक्ट सोयाबीन जो है दैट इज अ फाइटोएस्ट्रोजन बोलते हैं उसको, अगर अच्छी क्वालिटी. सो अगेन नॉन जीएमओ. सी इसमें ये ध्यान रखना पड़ता है, जीएमओ इतना ज्यादा होता है तो नॉन जीएमओ आपको लेना होगा सोयाबीन. एंड वो जो होता है आपकी बॉडी में एस्ट्रोजन की तरह मदद करता है. सो जैसे एस्ट्रोजन कम हो रहा है तो ये आर्टिफिशियल एक तरह से गुड एस्ट्रोजन की तरह वो मदद करता है. फ्लैक्सीड डज द सेम थिंग, एडामामे डज द सेम थिंग. So these are phytoestrogens. And again आप इसमें जैसे अगर दही इंक्लूड करते हैं तो वो प्रोटीन भी है, प्रोबायोटिक भी है, एंड गुड फैट भी आ गया. उसमें आपने मेक श्योर कि इट इज विद गुड डेयरी, गुड A2, मतलब लाइक डेयरी अच्छी होनी चाहिए, वो केमिकल वाली नहीं होनी चाहिए. केमिकल वाली है तो अच्छा मत लो. ओके, सो देन दिस इज प्रोटीन. तो हमने एक अच्छा सोर्स ऑफ प्रोटीन जरूर लेना है. 5 सर्विंग ऑफ फ्रूट एंड वेजिटेबल. सेकेंड इज गुड प्रोटीन. द थर्ड इज गुड फैट्स, जिसमें मुझे ओमेगा 3 का ध्यान रखना है, बिकॉज वी स्पोक अबाउट कि आपको ब्रेन फॉग होता है इस स्टेज में, लाइक द डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ कॉग्निटिव डिक्लाइन जो हो जाता है. सो उसके लिए द मोर ओमेगा 3s यू हैव, लाइक वॉलनट, फ्लैक्सीड, चिया सीड, एंड अदर गुड सोर्सेज ऑफ फैट्स लाइक olive oil, coconut, A2 cow desi ghee. If you have these good sources of fat, they help you with any type of anxiety, depression, brain issues. So cognitive के लिए आप उससे मदद ले रहे हो, right? And then you have your sunlight, which gives you calcium as well as vitamin D, which is extremely important because खाली calcium की tablet लेने से नहीं होता, vitamin D भी साथ में चाहिए होता है. So you can get your calcium through your nuts, through your good dairy, through sesame seeds, but make sure there is enough vitamin D coming from the sun, and if required supplementation, ताकि वो calcium absorb भी हो साथ में. Right?
So it means that yeah, please go ahead.
So we मतलब like in terms of क्या क्या खाना है, अभी तक हमने 3 चीजें बात करी हैं. एक है 5 sources of fruits and vegetables. Second is your good protein. Third is good fat and multiple sources of good fat. And fourth one is like, अब जैसे ये तो आप किसी खाने के टाइम खाएंगे, है ना? अभी दिन में you might want like a tea or something. So अगर हम लोग at the night you have a chamomile tea or you have any dark chocolate. So दिन में कभी भी आपको चाय पीने का मन करे, so dark chocolate powder से आपने अगर कैको टी है, because magnesium इस टाइम कम हो जाता है. So magnesium जो है आपका, वो आपको you want a high source of magnesium happening, and Caco powder is one such source. So ये जो है, these things help you overall to maintain a good diet at this point. अगर आप ये खा रहे हैं, so then the chances of you suffering from severe symptoms is significantly reduced. They may not become zero, but it has become significant. वो -100 का आपका डेबिट नहीं लगेगा. आपका मतलब like you have earned things in your account so that when the expense comes, you are much better equipped. You are much more stronger to handle those symptoms.
Right. So I think 70% of the positive balance which you said can be easily covered using our nut smoothie and green smoothie. Along with that, 15 minutes in sunlight.
Yes.
And then some 15-20 points from here and there, but 70 points can be covered from here only. So what we will do is we will also give the recipe again in our description so that people can use that. So that if you don't want to do anything else, do those three things: green smoothie, nut smoothie, and sunlight, and preferably bare feet. That would be great. So now that we have discussed what food to eat, so is there any science about how should women eat during perimenopause?
So yes, so like depending upon how severity the symptoms are having, see sometimes you have to go into advanced techniques And sometimes, like let's say if you are not getting any symptoms, so a general healthy diet is good enough. If you have started to get symptoms, then you will, you go through कि मेरे को क्या क्या अवॉइड करना है, क्या क्या खाना है. And अगर मैं ये सब करने के बावजूद मेरे symptoms are not reducing at all, so that means I will have to now become even more scientific around it. And there are two things which are particularly beneficial for menopause. The first one is intermittent fasting. And by intermittent fasting, I'm not saying long fast. 14-10, that has been shown to work much better for women. So if you can do 14-10 on an everyday basis, and again, like, if you are currently at like 16 hours of eating, do not go to straight away, 10 hours of eating. Go slowly. So that is intermittent fasting. And of course, we have like, our episode where you can see the science, how it works in the body. So that's number one. And second concept is, extremely interesting, is start eating for your cycle. Even though the cycles are irregular, you have to assume whenever you get, your first period, that is day 1. And day 1 से day 28 आप इमेजिन करेंगे, इवन दो इस टाइम हो सकता है साइकिल आपकी 35 डेज की हो गई है या 25 डेज की हो गई है. एंड व्हाट यू विल डू इज, देयर आर 2 important phases in the cycle. There is phase number 1, which is from day, which is your day 12 to day 15, जहां पर आपकी ओवल्यूशन होती है. Now that is the day where you need high estrogen. So we will supplement this day by eating food which are high in estrogen. And then there is like towards the end, which is day 21 onwards. We will supplement that phase with foods which are high in progesterone. Because ये जो time है, day 12 से 15, this is जब estrogen hero होता है. And day 21 onwards is progesterone time. Abhi, because you are going through an hormone mess, this dance is not happening properly. So your diet will also support in enhancing this dance. So how will you do that? Now day 12 to 15. And you will have to, the more you count properly, the better will be your result in reducing your overall symptoms. So day 12 to 15 is the estrogen time. So what are you going to do in that? You are going to eat a lot of phytoestrogens. Soy products, यहाँ पर अच्छा वाला soy products, non GMO. So tofu हो गया, आपका सोयाबीन हो गया, edamame हो गया, flax seeds. All these will help you with the estrogen building. Your sesame seeds, garlic, cruciferous vegetables, gobi, matlab different type of, your broccoli, your gobi, cabbage, cauliflower. So these things are estrogen building in nature. They support the body for the evolution time. Dry fruits, again, dry fruit smoothie. So if you are, if you have been with us and you are taking your dry fruit smoothie, green smoothie, and a salad, big bowl of salad with the healthy fat and protein dressing, they cover a lot of things naturally. And depend, problem change हो जाती है, but solution काफी हद तक similar रहते हैं, because you're supporting the inner doctor that is there inside your body. So you will be eating estrogen building foods day 12 to day 15. And now in the last week, which is day 21 onwards, you need progesterone building foods. Now what are those progesterone building food? Dark chocolates. That's why girls को PMS में के time में, like, they like eating chocolates. See, body अपने आप naturally, but अब उस chocolate में क्या होता है कि because there is so much of sugar and milk, sometimes it gives you a lot of ups and downs. And you don't want ups and downs happening at all, because in this time, because of lack of estrogen, your insulin is already becoming weaker. You don't want to stress it by causing spikes through your food. You want to help it by taking food which generally does not cause much spikes.
Right.
So your dark chocolates, your nuts, avocados, ये खासकर ये last week का मैं बता रही हूँ, जब आपका 21 day onwards पे है. Avocados, sweet potatoes. Yes, potatoes also help. They are very comforting. They build progesterone. So with the skin on, मतलब जो natural में जैसे होता है ना, अच्छे से बाहर से आपने उसको धोया and make sure, मतलब pesticides वगैरह अच्छे से धो के आपने हटा दिए, या organic लेते हो तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. And आप skin के साथ potato को अगर आप ले रहे हैं, then pumpkin pumpkin and pumpkin seeds as well, जो कि आप इस टाइम में अगर आप लेते हैं तो बहुत हेल्प होगा. Fruits, whole grains, good carbs. You need carbs at this time. See, अभी तक के रेस्ट ऑफ द 21 डेज में आप फैट हैवी चल रहे हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. ये आखिरी टाइम जो है 21 डे ऑनवर्ड्स, यू नीड गुड कार्ब्स. तभी पोटैटो, स्वीट पोटैटो, कॉम्प्लेक्स कार्ब्स, होल ग्रेन्स, these will really help you. Legumes. See, legumes help women a lot. जो अपने राजमा, छोले एंड देन डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ दालें जो हैं, स्पेशली अगर आप उसे प्रॉपरली पका के ले रहे हैं, विच इज बाय कुकिंग, सोकिंग एंड देन स्प्राउटिंग देम इफ पॉसिबल. जहां जहां जिसमें स्प्राउट होता है वहां पे स्प्राउट किया और फिर खाया उनको. तो बिकॉज दे आर इवन शोन, research has shown that they can delay your menopause, whatever is your technical age जब भी होना है, उसको वो 3 साल से डिले भी कर सकते हैं. So make sure you are eating legumes regularly. So, yes. So coming back to the, last week of the cycle, you want a good carbs, you want fruits, you want dark chocolate, avocados, nuts and seeds, more centered around the last week of the cycle, because these are progesterone building foods. So now if you are doing all these things, you have kind of, फूड से जितना हो सकता है आपने 80% चांस अपने रिड्यूस कर दिए आज के जितने हमने बातें करी हैं, अगर आप ये कर रहे हैं. उसके बाद ऑफ कोर्स आपकी जो एक्सरसाइज का है, दैट वी कैन डिस्कस इन अ सेपरेट टॉपिक, बट एटलीस्ट फ्रॉम अ डाइट परस्पेक्टिव, most of the people will be able to reduce their symptoms significantly just by focusing on the first part of this discussion, the last question that you had, कि खाना क्या है और क्या नहीं खाना है. बट अगर उसके भी नहीं हुआ तो फिर साइकिल के लिए खाना है. एंड इतना अगर हम करते हैं तो हमने जितना कर सकते थे हमने उसका सब कर लिया. राइट
राइट
दैट इज व्हाट द इंटेंशन इज ऑलवेज कि whatever is science telling us at this stage, we are supporting the body that much extent possible. And I think body इससे ज्यादा हमसे कुछ चाहती भी नहीं है. एक तो तंग मत करो, और अगर सपोर्ट कर सकते तो बहुत ही दया होगी.
Right. And guys, to understand right way to have dark chocolate, we have covered that in a separate question in last week episode. We will give that in description so that you can just go and watch right way to have it, because it is like Priyanka said that it can give you spikes. So the right way is mentioned in that last episode. So Priyanka, let us. So we have covered almost everything. Now let us just do a recap for the people who are joining right now on their mobile. So we can just do a quick recap on that, right?
Sure. I will just set up my mobile as well. Yes, we can do that. Yes.
Okay. Starting with, why do new moms often experience baby blues or postpartum depression?
So it comes from 3 factors primarily. One is progesterone is naturally high during pregnancy, which goes down postpartum. That's number 1. Number 2, your gut comes under stress from a hypersensitive HPA axis. Now that releases more cortisol hormone, which causes more leaky gut, which causes higher inflammation in the body, more fire in the body, and that further feeds into your more sensitive HPA axis. Now when that happens, your leaky gut can cause a lot of issues in the body, and one of the issues is you getting baby blues or postpartum depression. And the second way it affects us is your feel good hormone, which is serotonin. 95% of serotonin is produced in the gut. So if you are supporting your gut at this point, you are not just reducing your chances of baby blues, but also you are reducing, you just increasing your nutrient absorption capacity as well.
And what lifestyle change can help new moms to prevent baby blues and feel balanced?
So these are the 5 things that moms can do, especially during the initial phase. First is women who are, who have been shown to, women who have initiated breastfeeding at the earliest with the child are shown to have much lower instances of postpartum depression. That's number 1. Second, sleep when your baby sleeps. And if you can't sleep at that point, if you're not sleepy, use a nice meditation music at that point. Not only will that help the baby and help with the brain development of the baby in that initial phase, but it will also help you relax and feel much better. Third is have a very balanced diet, which includes good sources of proteins, good sources of fats, and a lot of minerals and vitamins, including fibers. Make sure to have those fibers included in the diet through rainbow diet. So 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. Number 4 is, if you can, once your doctor allows, when you go out, you do grounding, bare feet on the grass. And number 5 is the most important one. Whatever your mother-in-law feeds you at that point in time, enjoy the attention and have all that.
Right. And what lifestyle tips help ease perimenopause symptoms like brain fog and anxiety?
So lifestyle, you have to look at the 4 lifestyle portions that we discussed. There are physiological factors which increase our risk of perimenopausal symptoms. There are hormonal factors. There are lifestyle factors. Lifestyle factors like if you are taking a high calorie diet, you are taking a low fiber diet, you have high content of sugar and processed food, your chemical load is high, not just in your food, but also in your skincare, low sleep, high sedentary lifestyle, smoking and alcohol. So these are the factors which increase your risk of getting those perimenopausal symptoms in the first place.
And what should women avoid to manage perimenopause symptoms like hot flashes, brain fog?
So there are 5 things that you should avoid. The first one is the sugary food, things with added sugar. So read your label. The second one is processed food, which is laden with chemicals. And when we say processed chemicals, not just through food, but also through skincare. The third one is fried food or bad type of fat, which you again get in a lot of packaged food. Fourth one, smoking. And fifth one is drinking. If you can avoid that, it will really help your estrogen levels balance.
Right. And what foods are best to eat during perimenopause for overall health?
So these are the 5 principles which you should follow. First is hydration. And by hydration, we mean not just water, but minerals as well. Second one is you have to eat foods which balance your overall sugar level. So which are not causing too many insulin spikes. The third one, foods that help reduce inflammation, which reduce the fire which your body is already going through. Fourth one, feed your gut friends. They help estrogen dance better. And fifth one is eat a high fat diet. You need to be eating sources of good fats, good significant amount of fat in your diet. That's what your body needs at that time.
Right. And science behind how women should eat during perimenopause?
So eat for your cycle. So when you have a when you are going through perimenopause, apart from eating an overall balanced diet, when you are in the ovulation phase, which is day 12 to day 15, eat foods that help increase your estrogen. And when you are in the the last week of the cycle, day 21 onwards, eat foods which help build progesterone. That's how you balance your cycle. And so you balance for your cycle, and you also eat a overall nutritious diet as well.
Right. So that's it. We have covered everything and we have done a quick recap. So thank you everyone for joining us today, where we explored powerful ways that lifestyle and nutrition can support women's health through postpartum and perimenopause. Remember, taking small, thoughtful step in these areas can make a big difference in feeling balanced, strong, and healthy life during the life's big transition. Like Priyanka mentioned, it is not about covering the 100 rupee expense. It is whatever portion you can cover, be it 50, be it 70, but you can at least reduce the pain. And if you found today's insight helpful, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with others who might be going through the similar phases. Your support help us reach and empower more people on their wellness journey. Until next time, take care and keep thriving. Thank you so much. Thank you, Priyanka. Any last
Thank
words
you.
for audience?
No, absolutely. I think thank you so much. And I'm so glad we are having this discussion. Enjoy yourself. Happy Diwali, everyone. And see you soon in the next episode.
Right. Happy Diwali, everyone. Take care.
Yes. Bye.
Bye. हो गई